My name is Anna Lotko, and I'll be talking about Localite today. So, high-level overview. Localite is a suite of multiplayer mobile games that play with social dynamics across shared digital and physical spaces. So what do I mean by shared digital and physical spaces? Let me just show you this juxtaposition of images. You see the top, they're both in the same place at the same event, but 7 years apart. They're the Papal inauguration in 2005 and 2013. And you look at the behavioral change in these two pictures, and you can see it's kind of surprising how differently people are behaving. So Localite games rethink how we use our private mobile devices in public spaces through gameplay, addressing this kind of behavioral change. And to tell you a little bit more about how they leverage both the physical and the digital space, this is a kind of mock-up of what gameplay might look like. You can imagine pouring a multiplayer game where you're pouring liquid from one screen to the next, where you're building bridges between different devices with your friends in a very social atmosphere. So the technical format of Localite games involves this kind of screen sharing between devices, wherein you're creating these bridges that are part of the game mechanics themselves. But Localite games are also social, just like Zynga. Just kidding. So Zynga games are great at connecting friends across large distances, but unlike that, Localite games aim to connect friends in close proximity with each other, requiring them to come together and have the immediacy of leveraging different social interactions and social cues between players. And in addition to the ability to connect friends with each other, Localite games also include a location-based meetup mode, which enables strangers to kind of meet each other through spontaneous gameplay encounters. So you could imagine walking by a building where maybe you know someone inside or maybe you don't know anyone, and having it notify you that somebody else has that Localite app. So it's location-based meetup, a meetup mode as well. So just to give you a sense of what the gameplay is like, I just made this really short video, which is also prior art references. So Space Team is a game that came out recently. This is the social aspect of gameplay. These are network mobile devices, all in the same setting. In addition, there's this novelty of being able to pour things and send things from screen to screen.
Is Carl Germain. He had this wonderful trick where a rose bush was.
This is all rehearsed, recorded, not interactive.
But it was his production of a butterfly that was the most beautiful.
And then, in addition, there's the tactile interaction having multiple phones. So these are Siftio cubes, they're a hardware platform. And I'm envisioning taking that kind of gameplay where you have objects migrate from screen to screen, but instead of creating an entirely different piece of hardware, you're using on something that people already have in their pockets all the time. So imagine the fun kind of chaos of the social interaction of Space Team with the novelty of this kind of techno illusionism and the tactile play of the Siftio cubes themselves. Target audience, so Localite games are meant to be very accessible. The gameplay is going to be very similar. They aim to kind of enable people who are in public spaces, like standing in lines, maybe they're in car rides, or maybe awkward social settings where there's supposed to be some sort of social lubricant. Maybe the games can be used for that. So thinking about people standing in idle places and simple mechanics that are people can pick up with the devices they already have in their pockets all the time anyways. So how might people interact with each other? I've envisioned two different ways of connecting the devices. One is a gestural input that calibrates the relationship between these devices to think about orientation and proximity of them. And the other one is aligning these games to a visual key using something like arrows or other kinds of obvious symbols. Colored arrows are a pretty easy one to think about. So thinking about marketing, how am I going to spread the word? Well, there's the obvious sort of viral nature of a multiplayer. It's my cat. Of a viral multiplayer social game wherein if you have it, you want your friend to play with you, you tell them about it, and they download it as well.
Is that a shot glass that you had to give your
No, it's in the sink. It's So I also want to bring Localite games to public conferences because I think in a setting like the GDC or Indicate, I think it'll be very adaptable to this kind of like spontaneous encounters, this impromptu gameplay. So thinking about how might you monetize this? The initial download of the app and of the first game is free, but after that you can pay to add more games afterwards. And then in addition, there are also, I'm imagining different power-ups you might be able to buy, and instead of having them leverage your gameplay yourself, you can share them with people, but they remain kind of change the device that purchased them, but then able to share them in one active game setting with the other devices that are active as well. So this is my timeline. There's the initial kind of startup funding, and then taking it on through this summer, prototyping, fall, spring, and then after I already have sort of the proof of concept of this kind of suite of games that I can make, then approaching maybe perhaps some VC funders to get a little bit more funding to actually create the location games functionality and other different aspects, like create more games as well. Production budget, this is the initial budget, and I'm out of time, so just think about the form factor and the visceral effect of being able to pour things from one device to the other, connecting strangers and friends in physical space, and the accessibility of simple game mechanics.